Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Luke Beller. So I wanted to break down this one player that stood out in Packers minicamp. I came across this one article from Packers Wire that sort of broke this guy down in a few different quotes from other Packers reporters. He had a good article there at Packers Wire, so I'll leave the link to that article down below. But this player is Juwann Winfree, wide receiver, former 6th-round pick by the Broncos back in 2019. He supposedly stood out a lot in this Packers minicamp over the past week or two that it was. And so I want to sort of go through some quotes from different Packers reporters on sort of what they saw from him at his time there in minicamp, and also sort of look at his background as well, sort of how he got to Green Bay. But if you guys are new here, you like Packers content, Packers news, all that kind of stuff, that's what I put out on this channel pretty much every single day. So if you want to see that, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel down below. So when we take a look at Juwann Winfree, he was, as I said, a former 6th-round pick by the Broncos back in 2019. He then played in a couple games there, didn't really get any catches while he was there with the Broncos, and then he was actually signed to the Packers practice squad October 1st, 2020, and then he was elevated to 2 different games last season, back in Week 10 and in Week 14, but in both of those games he did not get any catches, so he doesn't really have any stats to look at in his 2 seasons in the NFL. So definitely, a young guy who hasn't really had too much time to show, much so far. And then in January, the Packers decided to come in and sign him to a reserve futures contract, and so was here for minicamp. And it's going to be interesting to see sort of how he does, in training camp as well. So first off, we have Bill Huber of Sports Illustrated had this to say. He says, speaking of Winfree, he might have been the most productive receiver during the minicamp. A 6th-round pick by Denver in 2019, he scored the winning touchdown in a 2-minute drill on Wednesday and made the impressive catch of the bullet from Love for a score on Thursday. Then Matt Schneidman of The Athletic said this in his article. He said Winfree kept popping up throughout Wednesday's practice during 11-on-11 drills. He caught a semi-deep out from Love and reeled in a pass from Benkert during a 2-minute drill and scored a long touchdown off a broken coverage. Winfree, a 2019 6th-round pick of the Broncos, spent most of his time with the Packers last season on the practice squad. He'll face an uphill battle to make the 53-man roster later this summer, but his pursuit to do so got off to a good start this week. And then the final quote I wanted to take a look at from another Packers reporter, Rob Demovsky of ESPN said this. He said the former 6th-round pick of the Broncos in 2019 has played in 5 career games, 3 for Denver, 2 for the Packers, but has never caught a pass, as I was saying. He got plenty of them throughout OTAs and minicamp this spring, and while the Packers' top 4 receivers appear set, Davante, MVS, Allen Lazard, and Amari Rodgers, Winfree looks like he'll make a strong run at a spot in the rotation, and that's all he had to say about that. So it seems that he was, showing some promise there in OTAs and minicamp, which is definitely exciting to see. Exciting to see any, player, under-the-radar player come in here and, start to perform well. The only thing with him when it comes to potentially making the Packers, final roster, when, 53-man roster, when the season actually does start, the Packers just have so many different receivers right now. And considering last year, when the Packers announced their initial 53-man roster, they had 5 wide receivers on the initial 53-man roster. I think it's going to be tough for him to make this Packers roster, even if he is exciting people right now, because we have Davante, definitely going to make the roster, obviously, no questions there. I'd say Lazard, MVS, Amari Rodgers. I'd say those 4 are pretty much locks. I mean, obviously, anything is possible, but those 4. And then we also have Devin Funchess as well, who Matt LaFleur was like, he looks pretty good. We got Equanimeous St. Brown as well, and we got Malik Taylor and Reggie Begelton and a couple other undrafted guys. So he would need to beat out, if the Packers keep or have 5 wide receivers on the 2021 53-man roster as they started out in 2020, he would need to beat out, let's see, if Davante, Allen Lazard, MVS, and Amari Rodgers all made the roster, he would need to beat out Devin Funchess, Equanimeous St. Brown, Malik Taylor, Reggie Begelton, and I think Chris Blair, and I can't remember the last guy's name. He would have to beat out all of those guys, which, I mean, it's possible. I haven't really seen too much from him, but I think that's going to be tough to do. Who knows if he can? If he can, obviously, he has lots of talent, just considering, Devin Funchess has lots of experience. We haven't seen him in a couple of years. You would assume he's better. I don't know, though. I haven't really seen too much from Juwann Winfree, and he was exciting people at training camp or at OTAs and minicamp, so maybe he is better than them. But then you do have guys like EQ and Malik Taylor who already have some experience on this Packers roster, so I just think it's going to be tough for him to make this final roster. even if he is, turning some heads right now. But of course, I wish him nothing but the best. Hopefully he is the best wide receiver. It would be awesome if he came in here and dominated. I think we'd be happy to see any wide receiver come in and dominate, another guy to help Aaron Rodgers. But that is all I wanted to break down on Juwann Winfree. We have like 5 or 6 months? No, sorry. We have like, 4, 5, 6 weeks until training camp starts, I think the end of July. And so right now, there's honestly not too much going on in the NFL. It's pretty silent. There's really nothing happening. Players aren't practicing. There's nothing really going on right now. And so I'll be continue to put out content. My goal right now is 5 a week, at least this week. I am going on a couple different trips in July before training camp, and so I may have a few less videos at that point, but I'll still try to put out, at least a few a week. That's my goal. But then when training camp starts back up, I'll be putting out tons of content over here, trying to update on everything that's going on, all the different players who are performing well in training camp, all that stuff. Then we got preseason. Then we got the regular season starting, which will be fun, which will be exciting. I'm excited for this season, honestly. Last season, I think when the season started on this channel, I think I had about like 200 subs, 150, 200 subs to start last season. So to start this next season with like 8,500 of you guys, it's going to be tons of fun. I'm excited. And I do appreciate all you guys who have been liking the videos, commenting, all that kind of stuff. Especially right now when like really there's nothing really going on. I know lots of people just like to pay attention during the regular season. So I do appreciate everyone who is watching at the end of June right now. You guys are the real ones. I appreciate all your guys' support. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.